Hey everyone, it's MrFlyingPigHD here. A little video, just a response to a little article I read on the BBC Sport website about Mr. Robbie Savage, class of '92 himself, saying that Man United need to sell 12 players and also spend £200 million. Look, Robbie Savage, calm down, mate, okay? We are the champions at the end of the day. Look, 12 players we need to get rid of. That's a little bit extreme. I agree with you on a lot of the players that you mentioned, but 12 players, I mean, you're having a laugh, mate. You don't need to get rid of that many. Look, you're talking about getting rid of Chicharito, getting rid of Antonio Valencia, getting rid of Ashley Young, right? I'd say those three players you don't need to get rid of at all. Just keep them for second string backup. Do you know what I mean? With this, you need a big squad. You need players who can come in and do a job against, the likes of Stoke, the likes of West Brom. These type of teams when you're competing on all fronts in the Champions League, FA Cups, League Cups, all this type of thing. You need a big squad. You need depth in that squad in order to be able to, mix it and match and squad rotate the squad and actually still compete on all fronts. So you need players who are not, Cristiano Ronaldo, who are just going to come in occasionally when Cristiano Ronaldo's fucking knackered, even though obviously we don't have a Cristiano Ronaldo, but still. So look, the players you want to get rid of, we're talking about getting rid of Fabio, I agree with, because he's never really achieved anything in the United shirt, and he's just shit, isn't he? Fabio's not very good. Plus you've got Butner and Evra there, and if we're going to sign a left back anyway, the likes of Quantro, Baines, or Luke Shaw, those type of players, then we certainly don't need an overcrowded left back position. So get rid of either Fabio or Butner. Either or doesn't really bother me. So I agree with that. I also agree with Anderson. That guy's on about 80 grand a week. How does that work? I don't know. 80k is a heck of a lot of money, and he certainly doesn't warrant that amount of money because the guy's pretty average. Let's be honest with you. Maybe that's being a little bit too generous because he's shit. He is not a very good player. So that's what I think. Also, I mean, obviously, like we were saying earlier about Ashley Young, I think Ashley Young's come into his own the last sort of 4 or 5 games. He's shown that grit and determination. He's been contributing quite a bit. He had a couple of really good standout performances. So for the time being, Ashley Young can stay and just be that second string player. And eventually we'll look to try and sign some sort of a world-class winger who's actually going to, play in the big games. But for having somebody around who's going to play against like the likes of West Brom and Stoke, players like Ashley Young, Antonio Valencia, they're all good to keep for the squad. Thomas Cleverley, mate. Tom Cleverley, get out of my football club, you absolute Division bloody 7 player. I mean, what are you? I mean, this season you've been awful. You've had, I think you've only missed about 4 or 5 games this season. Moyes have chosen you every freaking single game, week in, week out. Don't know why. I mean, is there some sort of special relationship going on with Moyes and Tom Cleverley? Because that's the impression I get, because I can't see any other logical explanation why Moyes would keep choosing that mug, personally. So Tom Cleverley, jog on, I don't know, 10 million, whatever you're going to get from Anderson, 6 million, whatever. I don't know how much people are going to pay for these players now because they're awful. And in the likes of Anderson, they're not even on, low contracts or anything. So it's going to be tough to get rid of them. In terms of the defence, Rio Ferdinand, I say let him stay to the end of the season. He was a Rolls Royce of a defender, certainly one of the best defenders in the world for a long period of time. You don't lose that overnight. Okay, his talents are diminishing now. Last season he was quality. This season he's been awful. And I'd say, fair play, Rio Ferdinand. You've been a good loyal servant to the club. Stick it out until the end of the season and retire gracefully. Same goes for Ryan Giggs. I love Giggsy. Giggsy's one of my favourite. In fact, he is my favourite Man United player of all time, and he's the most decorated player in Premier League history. Basically, the best player in Premier League history if you're going on longevity and what he's won, obviously. So, but Giggsy, if you're still there next season, it's definitely something's wrong if you're still there next season. I think you should definitely stick around as a coach, maybe even possibly be the manager one day. But you're talking about, a 41-year-old man. If he's still getting enough starting 11 next year, that just means that we haven't strengthened, we haven't gone out and got the necessary talents in order to take Man United forward. So that would be a massive worry if Giggs doesn't retire at the end of the season. But for the service and the loyalty that he showed over the years, and just the general being an absolute Man United legend, you've got to say Giggsy's just a credit to the team. Yeah, and then I think we should keep all of our strikers. Robbie Savage is on about getting rid of Chicharito. Why would you get rid of Chicharito? Okay, maybe he doesn't start games very well, but he's never really been given a constant run of form. He's always been used as an impact substitute, which he's fantastic at. May not be an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but he's not far behind in terms of what he brings you off of the bench. So you've got to be keeping Chicharito. You know what I mean? If you sell him to Newcastle or Everton or somebody like that, he's only going to score them a lot of goals. Whether it's a a finish from 6 yards or a finish from 30 yards. It doesn't matter. Every goal counts, and he is the definition of a natural goal scorer, a natural finisher, a natural goal poacher. So definitely keep him. Same with Welbs. Welbs, hard-working English player. He's added the goals to his game this year. Looks like he's going to have a good United career, and I'd say definitely keep him. RVP and Rooney, it's going to be maybe a battle keeping hold of them if we don't get Champions League football, but we have to keep hold of them too. We've certainly got one of the best strike forces in the league. Our defence isn't even too bad. You know, if you're talking about Raphael, quality right back, centre backs, you've got the likes of Johnny Evans, Vidic, still going to be quality for another couple of years, whatever people say about him. And then you've got cover in the likes of, you know, you've got Phil Jones, who I think should be played at centre back more. And Chris Smalling, who, as long as he's not played at right back, always seems to do a good job. So I'd say, you know, keep Smalling as well. But just get rid of, get a new left back in and get rid of maybe 1 or 2 players in that area. And then Nani, you know, I'd say keep Nani because, okay, he's been awful this season. But I read a stat on that Robbie Savage article that said only like Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, you know, there's a few other players, Cesc Fabregas, have assisted more goals in the Premier League since I think it was 2007 or something. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that Nani used to be an absolute quality, influential player for United. Used to score a lot of goals as well. Used to set up a heck of a lot of goals. You know, he was a match winner. He was an absolute match winner. If he can get that vein of form back, he's just going to be a quality player. Do you know what I mean? We haven't seen it for a long time. Far too inconsistent. You know, I'd certainly give him to the end of the season to prove himself, though. And if he doesn't, then think about selling him to Juventus or whoever the hell wants him then. But certainly for the time being, I'd say, look, he's just signed a new contract. Give Nani a chance to prove himself, which hopefully he'll do. But he needs to improve his consistency and just stop being an absolute little, you know, Michael Jackson wannabe. But anyway, yeah, who else? Anderson, Tom Cleverley, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'd say, you know, keep everybody else. So the players I want to see get rid of. Robbie Savage is on about getting rid of 12 players. Right? I say that's a bit excessive, Robbie. Calm down. Get your hair cut, mate. That's a bit excessive. Go and sign a few quality players and just get rid of a few gash players. That seems to be all that we need to do. So get rid of Anderson, get rid of Cleverley, get rid of Fabio. I'd say keep Ashley Young and Valencia. You know what I mean? Keep them. You know, if they're in good form, they're decent wingers. They're good wingers. Just don't play them against the likes of Barcelona. You know what I mean? Play them against Wiggins and Stokes. And well, why did I say Wigan there in the Championship? But you know what I mean? Play them against the lesser teams. You need that squad depth. So that's just my personal opinion. What do you think, guys? Who do you think we should get rid of? Either in January or at the end of the season. I say we need to get rid of 5 players. In January, if possible, if we're going to bring new people in. If not, there's no point. But if we are going to bring some new people in, Cleverley, Anderson, Fabio, get rid of them 3 in January. And then at the end of the season, Ferdinand and Giggsy can retire gracefully. That's what I think. What do you think? Please comment below who you think should stay or go. Who do you think we should sign? And generally take it easy. Please keep a lookout for my video later, which will be the match reaction to the Man United versus Swansea game. But for the time being, have a good Saturday. Enjoy your Saturday and take it easy.